What is controlling your thoughts? What is enslaving you? Is it the television set, feeding your mind images of what life should be? Is it the internet, drawing you in and controlling your time? Is it drugs or alcohol numbing your brain and diminishing your desires? Or is it weakness? A lack of discipline that prevents you from accomplishing what you want to accomplish.
If you configure your life so that what you are genuinely doing is aiming at the highest possible good, then the things that you need to survive and to thrive on a day-to-day basis will deliver themselves to you. If you dare to do the most difficult thing that you can conceptualize, your life will work out better than it will if you do anything else.
In the corner. And see, it's not important how long you live. What's important is how you live.
But I think that some of us are producing results in our lives that level of commitment brings that we particularly don't like or find distasteful. I don't think that as a participant in life, you cannot be committed. You're either committed to mediocrity or you're committed to greatness. You're either committed to being productive or you're committed to being non-productive. You're committed to being happy or you're committed to being unhappy. See, whatever you're doing, however you spend your time, that tells you who you are. So think about what it is you like to create in your life experience. On the other hand, you can make the commitment to your life that you don't like the results that you have and that you're going to do something about it. See, that power is available to all of us. People who look at life and decide, I want something different for myself. I made the commitment to do it and I did it. Why is it that people are frightened by commitment? Because when you say the word commitment, that intimidates a lot of people. Why? Because it means you have to deliver. So most people like to use that language. They don't want to commit themselves because commitment means, among many things, no excuse is acceptable. That's what it means. No excuse. That if you decided that you're going to do this, if it's difficult, so what? If it's inconvenient, so what? If it becomes hard, then do it hard.
Almost any accomplishment in the history of the world has come at the hands of people who've taken risk. People who are willing to push the envelope. People who are willing to explore the unknown. Even if you go and you look in the Bible, you know, the people that are held up as the heroes, they're not the ones who were sitting in their tent under an olive tree. And, you know, the key thing about taking risk is learning. You know, and if something doesn't work out, learn from it. And then you're able to move further. We have to always recognize that we will never make progress unless we're willing to take risks.
Plain that you can't do your dream. Dreams require sacrifices. People don't want to sacrifice because they're so used to mommy or daddy or the system or the government or something else taking care of both. It's not how it works. You don't get to the 1% land. You don't get to that unbelievable place of happiness. You don't get to live your dream. You're not entitled to your dream. You have to fucking bleed for your fucking dream. This is dreams we're talking about. We're talking about dreams.
But can people just make that change? I mean,
yes,
look,
you can,
I believe they
but you have to plan it out. The way you can change is you have to put aside enough money to give yourself a window. And then you have to have a plan, and you have to spend all your waking hours outside of whatever job you do planning your escape. And you have to come to the realization very clearly that you f***ed up and you got yourself stuck. So whatever you're doing, you have to do it like your life depends on it. Whatever time that you have to attack like you're trying to save the world. You're trying to save your life. You don't want to drown. That 1.5 hours a day that you have to write, God damn, you better be caffeinated and motivated. You got to go. You got to get after it. And you got to have discipline. Most people don't have those things. Most people don't understand what it's like to really go for something.
The reason your life isn't where you want it to be mentally, physically, spiritually, and financially is because you're not buying into the concept of having to earn things. And let me tell you something, earning happiness is a requirement as well. But the truth is, guys, and this is the secret, happiness is earned. Just like earning the right to feel good about your body, just like earning everything else in your life. The reason you don't have happiness is because you haven't been disciplined in the rest of your life. When you don't pay that price, you don't get the prize of happiness. This is very simple. A lot of people will say that everybody deserves to be happy. You know what? I don't buy into that shit. If you're sitting on the couch and you're living a life less than what it could be, you do not deserve to be happy. That is not how the world works. You were put here to go on a journey, and that journey is the fulfillment of your own true potential. And when you don't even attempt to fulfill that potential, you're not going to be happy, ever.
I've never met a person who was not successful that didn't have a great amount of self-discipline within their life. Self-discipline and being able to perform and being able to keep your life on schedule and being able to keep commitments and promises and meet deadlines is essential to success. None of us can afford to have a life that is controlled by someone else or a life that is basically controlled by our emotions. I learned many years ago that there are two kinds of people. There's the type of person who says, I'm going to wait till I feel like it before I do it. And then there's a person who says, I've got to do it so that I feel like it. One will never get anything done because they're still waiting to feel the moment to move. And the other person says, no, I need to move, and then I will begin to feel the moment. Sonia, self-discipline is essential in your life and in my life if we're going to get things done. So I have a challenge for every one of you this weekend. The challenge is simple. As you go through your weekend, and sometimes it's kind of hopefully an easier time of your week, ask yourself, am I practicing self-discipline in my life? Am I doing the things that I should do because I need to do them, or am I kind of waiting to feel the moment? Do like our friends Nike say, just do it.
Because what you're doing is you're trying to optimize right now to stop the discomfort. But what you're going to pay for that in is shame and guilt and regret long term. So what you need to be able to do is bundle all of that up that is as yet unfelt, but will last for way, way, way longer. You know, the future is much longer than now. The future is going to extend out up until the day that you die. And the now is just for now. And even 130 hours is just 130 hours. And you get to look back. And do you look back with pride and glory? Or do you look back with shame and guilt?
I suggest to you that if you are facing a challenge, don't stop. Stay busy. Work your plan. Continue to do those things that you know that work for you after you have evaluated yourself in the situation. Continue to move. Stay busy, stay busy, stay busy. Expect things to get better for you because they are. See, life is cyclic. Whatever experience you're having right now, it has not come to stay. It has come to pass. Not to stay, just to pass. It's just going through. The biggest challenge is to know what's happening. This is a part of this thing we call life. This too shall pass. And maintaining perspective, putting it in perspective.
And what I didn't understand by being determined to chase something, by being committed to it, and what commitment is staying true to what you said you were going to do long after the mood that you have set it in has left. You see, people think commitment is saying, yes, I'll do it on the days when it feels good. But I have been committed to everything that I ever started in my life, and I never stopped and I never quit it. And so by being committed to everything that I started, I finished it. It built a certain type of spirit. It built a certain type of mentality. It built a certain type of individual. And so now I couldn't quit even if I wanted to. I couldn't lay in the bed even if I wanted to. I couldn't stop even if I wanted to. I had too much sweat equity in my life and everything that I was doing. Because I understood my existence wasn't about me. I went from me to we a long time ago. I understood the process is more important than the product. It wasn't about the outcome for me. Whether I made it to the NFL or not, that was inconsequential in God's plan for my life. But I was going to fall in love with that process because I understood by falling in love with that process, it was going to turn me into a machine.
If you don't have a lofty ambition, then you suffer miserably. And the reason for that is life is really complex, short, finite, full of suffering, and beyond you. The suffering is meaningful, it's just not the kind of meaning you want. So how do you get out of that? You note the baseline of suffering, and then you say to yourself, okay, I need to do something that justifies that.
At some point in life, we got to wake up and we got to say no more. We got to wake up and we got to say, man, this is it. We got to wake up and say, I'm going to make a change, a difference. We can't just be online watching things, saying amen, all the things and go back to the same things, y'all. It doesn't work like that. Hearing things is great, but you know what? Doing things and taking action, that's what's going to make change in your life. You need to start making some decisions. You ain't got to change everything, but you need to say, you know what? This is the one thing that I'm going to stop being loyal to, and this is the one thing I'm going to start being loyal to.
What permission you need. And I'm here to give you that permission. I'm here to tell you to give yourself that permission. I'm here to tell you to take the pen back and start rewriting that story. So what if you were beaten? So what if you were mentally and emotionally abused? Those are all superpowers now, because you are the type of person that went through that and came out the other side a stronger person. You have more resiliency. You are more resourceful than people that have not gone and suffered through adversity and abuse. That's the reality. We are more resilient. We are more emotionally strong, mentally tough, and we can deal with so much, but we have to first let go of the mental crippling crutch that we carry, which is this victim mindhood.
Stop being driven by rewards. Stop being driven by outcomes. Stop being driven by, if I get this, I'm gonna do this. Just work. And if you don't get what you thought you were gonna get, show up and still go to work.
Self-confidence is really someone who keeps promises of themselves. Because self-confidence is really like your reputation with yourself. If you've got a great reputation with yourself and you know you can trust you, you're not so concerned about your reputation and what other people think about you.
You gotta be able to find all these different things in your mind. Oh, I can put discipline right there. I can put consistency right there. I can put all these things right there in that spot. If your life is not organized, and your life being everything around you.
When you get better, everything will get better for you. And that's where I picked up that phrase, for things to change, you've got to change. You don't have to change the marketplace. You don't have to change the marketing plan. You don't have to change the economy. You don't have to change countries. You don't have to change circumstances out there. All you've got to do is look within and see if you can change yourself for the better. And as you change, things will start to change for you.
Almost nothing in life is constant. Conditions and circumstances are perpetually in flux like the winds and the tide, which is why my mind is never fixed. I tack and adjust, forever searching for my new 100%. Age, health, and the responsibilities we carry can be limiting. That doesn't mean we should give in to those limitations or use them as excuses to let ourselves or our dreams go. But we can acknowledge them as long as we are committed to finding out what we can still do given those limits, whether they be temporary or indefinite, and maximizing that. Every day, thousands of people wake up to a life defined by newfound limitations that are difficult to accept. Maybe they've been diagnosed with a terminal disease or suffered a spinal injury. Could be they lost a limb or are suffering from PTS. More often, the shifting circumstances are not nearly so dire. Sometimes it's good news that changes the equation. Maybe you are a new parent or landed a lucrative gig that demands 10 to 12-hour workdays. Could be you recently got married, which means you have to consider more than just your own goals. No matter the variables, your new 100% is out there waiting for you to find it. The thing is, most people don't want to, because whenever you're trying to find your new anything, it means you're not who you used to be, and that can be depressing enough to give up the search. Some people use their new circumstances to dial down their effort level instead of adjusting their approach and still giving it their all to achieve their goals. You've got to work with what you have. I couldn't run a ruck, but that didn't mean I was out of the fight. No matter what you are dealing with, your goal should be to maximize the resources and capabilities you do have. If you've suffered a freak injury or received a diagnosis that changes everything, what does your new maximum effort level look like? A lot of people bide their time and wait to see what happens next, but a year or two later, they find they are still waiting. With every unfortunate turn in life, no matter how heavy the weight, you have to be committed to pushing back against that pressure with effort. No matter your age, abilities, disabilities, or responsibilities, we must all stay committed to finding our new benchmarks. Because not only does that keep your mind engaged and your demons at bay, you actually might achieve things the old you never could have conceived.
There are two phrases I'd like you to ponder for a moment. The first is that life and business are like the changing seasons. That's one of the best ways to illustrate life. It's like the seasons that change. Here's the second phrase. You cannot change the seasons, but you can change yourself. Now, with those two key phrases in mind, let's turn to what I consider to be the 4 major lessons in life to learn. The first lesson is this. Learn how to handle the winters. They come regularly, right after autumn. Some are long, some are short, some are difficult, some are easy, but they always come right after autumn. That is never going to change. There are all kinds of winters. The winter when you can't figure it out. The winter when everything seems to go haywire. One writer called it the winter of discontent. There are economic winters, social winters, personal winters, when your heart is smashed into 1,000 pieces. Wintertime brings disappointment, and disappointment is common to all of us. So learn how to handle the winters. You must learn how to handle the nights. They come right after days. You must learn how to handle difficulty. It always comes after opportunity. You must learn to handle recessions. They come right after expansions. That isn't going to change. The big question is, what do you do about winters? You can't get rid of January simply by tearing it off the calendar. But here's what you can do. You can get stronger. You can get wiser. And you can get better. Make a note of that trio of words. Stronger, wiser, better. The winters won't change, but you can. Before I understood this, I used to wish it were summer when it was winter. When things were difficult, I used to wish they were easy. I didn't know any better. Then Mr. Schoaf gave me the answer from a part of his very unique philosophy when he said, "Don't wish it were easier. Wish you were better. Don't wish for fewer problems. Wish for more skills. Don't wish for less challenge. Wish for more wisdom." Here is the second major lesson in life. Learn how to take advantage of the spring. Spring is opportunity. And spring always follows winter. What a great place for spring. Right after winter. If you were going to put it somewhere, that would be the place to put it. God is a genius. Days follow nights. Opportunity follows difficulty. Expansion follows recession. And this all happens with regularity. You can count on it. However, the mere arrival of spring is no sign that things are going to look good in the fall. You must do something with the spring. In fact, everyone has to get good at one of two things: planting in the spring or begging in the fall. So take advantage of the day, take advantage of the opportunity, and read every book you can get your hands on to learn how to take advantage of the spring. Get busy quickly on your springs, your opportunities. There are just a handful of springs that have been handed to each of us. Life is brief, even at its longest. Whatever you are going to do with your life, get at it. Don't just let the seasons pass by. The third major lesson in life is this: learn how to nourish and protect your crops all summer. Sure enough, as soon as you've planted, the busy bugs and noxious weeds are out to take things over. And here's the next bit of truth: they will take it unless you prevent it. There are two key phrases to consider with the third major lesson. The first is all good will be attacked. Don't press me for a reason. I was not in on some of the early decisions, so I don't know why. I just know that it's true. Let reality be your best beginning. Every garden will be invaded. The second phrase is, all values must be defended. Social values, political values, friendship values, business values, all must be defended. Every garden must be tended all summer. If you don't develop this skill, you'll never wind up with anything of value. The fourth major lesson in life is this: learn how to reap in the fall without complaint. Take full responsibility for what happens to you. One of the highest forms of human maturity is accepting full responsibility. Learn how to reap in the fall without apology if you have done well, and without complaint if you have not. That's being mature. I'm not saying it's easy. I'm saying it's the best way to be. The seasons don't work for you or against you. They just are what they are. They are guaranteed to come every year, bringing both the positive and the negative. So it's up to you to remember the four major lessons in life, prepare for them, and make the most of everything they offer.
For you to constantly win, when this voice over here, the real you, is saying, get the fuck out of here. Go. You're nobody. You've always been nobody. And it's true. People don't hear that. That's a true voice. That's the real reality of David Goggins at 24 years old. It's not a false reality. And then you had to create another voice over here that is saying you're better than that other voice. And you're in the freezing cold water that both voices don't want to be in. But you win. And it goes from the water to the studying, to the running, to losing weight, to how you eat, to how you function as a man. Every day of your life, you're winning these battles. And then I have normal people who only have one voice. Never created the second voice. The winning voice is the second voice. They have one voice. And that's just, I'm a piece of shit. And that's all they hear. And then they judge people like me who are out here trying to be better. It's something that I can never really, it's a frustrating thing for me. Because I know the majority of people. I know what goes on in the brain because I studied the mind more than you. Because I'm a practitioner. So for you to be a piece of shit and come out of that, you don't just come out of it. You spend decades studying your mind and the human mind on how it functions in good environments, bad environments, stressful environments, patient environment. You study it all because you have to put all this together to create the mind to become successful. So I had to, it was like God blessed me with this brain. I had to create a mind. And so in doing so, I figured out every piece of human being in the world because that's what I was going off of for myself. So I know why you go on Instagram. I know why because you just have the time. You have the time because you don't want to put that time into bettering oneself. So I know why I'm misunderstood. I'm misunderstood by people who have plenty of time on their hands to misunderstand me because they are exactly where I once was, which is a low-life, lazy piece of shit. And it's the harsh reality of people who troll you, who go after you. They have nothing better to do with their lives. It's not some after-school special. It's the truth by once was that way. I know where it all comes from. That's why it's frustrating to me now, because I'm not so frustrated at the fact that I'm being trolled. I'm frustrated by the fact that you don't have the courage to try to be somebody better than what you're not. And that's the frustrating part. Most people live their whole lives without ever contemplating what it means to be great. They put all the greats on a pedestal, but think of themselves as mere mortals. And that's exactly why greatness eludes them. They turn it into some untouchable plane, impossible for almost anybody to reach, and it never even crosses their mind to aim for it. No matter what I'm doing or which arena I'm engaging in, I will always aim for greatness because I know that we are all mere mortals, and greatness is possible for anyone and everyone if they are willing to seek it out in their own soul. In Goglish terms, greatness is a state of letting go of all your faults and imperfections, scavenging every last bit of strength and energy, and putting it to use to excel at whatever you set your mind to. Even if some motherfucker out there told you it was impossible, it is a feeling pursued by those rare souls willing to extend themselves beyond reason and pay the cost. In the late 1950s, Captain Joseph Kittinger was a pilot in the Air Force, tapped for experimental aviation and skydiving duty in New Mexico. He wasn't a household name. In fact, hardly anybody knew the first thing about him until August 16, 1960, when he donned a red duct tape pressure suit and boarded an open-sided gondola tethered to an onion-shaped helium balloon. He flew that rig nearly 20 miles high until he reached the thin atmospheric line where everything goes from blue to black. He traveled to a place where the horizon did not exist. He was above and beyond all previously known limitations. Suspended at 102,800 feet, he unclipped his harness and stepped into space. His free fall lasted nearly 5 minutes. His maximum velocity was 614 miles per hour. He plummeted over 80,000 vertical feet before his primary chute opened. This was no Red Bull sponsored party. It wasn't a television show. Kittinger wasn't an entertainer. He was an explorer, a seeker of a new realm for the world. His flight and his jump helped make man's space flight possible. And also for himself. I don't jump to Earth from outer space, but I know that atmospheric line between blue and black. It is the glimmer of greatness that runs right through the human soul. We all have it. Most of us will never see it because to get there requires a willingness to extend yourself to the limit without any guarantee of success. Then again, success is just another mile marker on the journey. Landing the jump and walking away while lighting a cigarette as if it were a typical day on the job made Kittinger look cool. But it didn't make him great. His willingness to do it in the first place, knowing that the chances of failure were high and everything it cost him, made him great. It wasn't a stunt to garner fame or publicity. It was merely an attempt to see what was humanly possible. Just as words can be redefined, never doubt that we can redefine ourselves. It can feel impossible at times because we live in a world filled with arbitrary boundaries and fixed social lines that are as thick as the walls around a fortress. Worse, we allow those walls to limit us in too many ways. The brainwashing starts early, and it starts at home. The people we grow up with and the environments we grow up in define who we think we are and what we think life is all about. When you're young, you can only know what you see. And if all you are ever exposed to are lazy people, content with mediocrity, or who convince you of your own worthlessness, greatness will remain a fantasy. If you live in the ghetto or in a dying industrial or farming town where buildings are boarded up, addiction runs rampant, and the schools are a mess, that will factor into the possibilities others envision for you, and you envision for yourself. But even privileged people can feel shackled by their circumstances. The vast majority of parents don't know what greatness looks like, so they are ill-equipped and afraid to encourage big dreams. They want their children to have security and don't want them to experience failure. That's how limited horizons get passed down from generation to generation. Should we really be surprised that almost everybody has a knack for twisting their story to work against themselves? I hear it all the time. Privileged kids say, "I have too much, so I cannot develop the skills that you have." The kid that came from nothing will tell me, "I don't have enough. Therefore, I cannot develop the skills that you have." No matter where someone is in life, they never fail to confess why they can't get where they need to go. The minute they open their mouths, I see how limited their horizons are, and their sob stories come with the expectation that I will deliver a become great package to their front door. But that's not how it works. To this day, it is for me to become better mentally. How I look has just become a Like, I have thousands, hundreds of thousands of miles on this body, running, pull-ups, push-ups, swimming, whatever you want to call it. This body is what it is now. It's from repetition. It's not from studying, hey, if you hold a plank for this long, call that bull. I don't care about it. I just do it for my mind.
Right.
I want to continue to harden, because that's the only thing I want. That's what I want. I want to have that mind ready for life. Identity is a trap that will keep you in blinders if you let it. Sometimes identity is what we are saddled with by society. Other times it's a category we claim. It can be empowering to associate yourself with a particular culture, group job, or lifestyle. But it can also be limiting. If you stick with your own too closely, you will be susceptible to groupthink, and you may never learn who you really are or what you can accomplish. I know people who are so obsessed with landing a specific job that once they settled into that role, they clipped their own wings. They never moved on or attempted to try anything new, and that blocked them from evolving and developing new skills. Sometimes we are misled by others who categorize us based on what they perceive as our identity. When I met with Navy recruiters, several tried to steer me away from SEAL training and into a different opportunity because I didn't fit the mold. I was overweight, my ASVAB scores were low, and there was my skin color. Remember, I was only the 36th Black Navy SEAL. The recruiters weren't trying to hurt me, and I don't believe they were racist. They honestly thought they were helping me by presenting more realistic options. Usually, however, we mislead ourselves. Those of us who are struggling with our self-worth, like I was as a child, often build identities around the very things that haunt us the most. Not because we want to, but because subconsciously we are convinced that is how everyone else sees us. You cannot allow what someone else may or may not think about you or the issues you're dealing with to stop your progress. My environment and my history made me over-anxious and stressed out. The color of my skin made me a mark. I was prejudged and vulnerable at almost every turn, and it was my job to defy all of that. No matter how troubled or hopeless or sheltered your environment is, it is your job, your obligation, your duty, and your responsibility to yourself to find the blue to black line, that glimmer buried in your soul, and seek greatness. Nobody can show you that glimmer. You must do the work to discover it on your own. There are no prerequisites to becoming great. You could be raised by a pack of wolves. You could be homeless and illiterate at 30 years old and graduate from Harvard at 40. You could be one of the most accomplished mothers in the country and still be hungrier and work harder than everybody else you know as you attempt to conquer a new field. And it all starts with a commitment to looking beyond your known world, beyond your street, town, state, or nationality, beyond culture and identity. Only then can true self-exploration begin. After that comes the real work. Fighting those demons every morning and all day long is maddening because they only ever want to break you down. They don't encourage you or make you feel good about yourself or your long odds as you fight through all the toxic mold and crust that is self-hate, doubt, and loneliness. They want to limit you. They want you to surrender and retreat back to what you know. They want you to quit before you get to pliability, where the sacrifice, hard work, and isolation that felt so heavy for so long become your haven, where after struggling to visualize greatness for years, it is effortless. That's when momentum will gather like an updraft and send you airborne and spiraling toward the outer limits of your known world. It's time to level up and seek out that blue to black line, the line that separates good from great. It is within each one of us. You have to remind yourself, we all have a story. All of us have gone through very hard times. But when we're in a hard time, our mind has a way of forgetting what all we've overcome. I have a way of taking 1 second when I want to quit and saying, okay, you endured this. So I look at my life and how I came up as the ultimate training ground versus most people look at it as why? Woe is me. God, why?
Right, exactly.
Why? I had to flip this upside down and say, hang on a second. God was training me to be one of the baddest men on the planet Earth. That's how this was my journey, because those things beat me, but they didn't kill me.
Not
and
at
I
all.
was able to work around them and figure
right.
out ways through it. So when I was in the worst time of my life in Hell Week, I looked at everybody and said, I'm the most trained person here. I've gone through more mental torture than any of you all can even fathom. So I'm looking at the baddest people on the planet. I'm looking at them like this. You guys can't hold a stick. So I started looking at verses like, I don't belong here, versus like, I might be the baddest person to ever come here. Who could have pulled this off? Who could have been given a sewer to live in their mind and say, okay, at birth, I'm gonna put you in the worst place on the planet Earth, and let me see if you can go to the top of the mountain with nothing, but just hard work, grit, and figuring it out, and not putting yourself back in the dungeon every time something got hard. So that's what became my daily voice was, you really are the baddest person on the planet.
Individuals who grasp the concept of unwavering determination in life understand the significance of the 2-millimeter principle. They possess the ability to consistently drive themselves forward because they are aware that the next level of excellence is much closer than it may seem. In situations where most individuals might give up, they draw upon their inner reservoir of strength and find that extra surge of determination that propels them to the subsequent level. And then they persist on their journey. They understand that the essence of being unstoppable resides within one's mindset. Originally originating from a sport, the 2-millimeter principle can be universally applied to various facets of life. By doing so, an undeniable quality of persistence is truly fostered. Cultivate unshakable belief. Numerous people possess innate talent, yet only a few are able to transform that inherent aptitude into a manifestation of excellence. So what sets certain individuals apart from the rest of us? The foundation of being unstoppable invariably begins with unwavering self-belief. This belief acts as the driving force that sustains you even in moments of fatigue, depletion, and the feeling of emptiness, when it seems that every ounce of effort has been expended and doubts start to creep in. Mastering the art of relentless living entails banishing such thoughts. It's about having an unwavering conviction that achieving the next 2 millimeters is entirely attainable, regardless of the circumstances. This distinction is what truly separates the remarkable from the ordinary, the exceptional from the commonplace. Sustaining unwavering self-belief is closely tied to discovering your purpose. By detaching from the aspirations of others and uncovering your personal vision for life, you unlock the motivation to elevate yourself, accomplish more, and pursue achievement without wavering. In this pursuit, you become impervious to obstacles. Cultivate mental resilience. While belief forms the initial step, achieving an unstoppable state demands honing your mindset further. Some individuals crumble under pressure, much like glass, while others, like diamonds, are forged by it. Elite athletes and accomplished business people withstand immense pressure. The crux lies within their mental outlook. Begin by examining your internal dialogue. At that moment, just before reaching the 2 millimeter threshold, when surrender seems tempting, how do you interpret this juncture within your mind? Monitor your internal monologue. Identify and replace any detrimental thoughts which stem from limiting beliefs with empowering alternatives. Furthermore, master control over your emotions. It was once noted that the inability to control emotions equates to the inability to control one's actions, ego, and destiny. The path to being unstoppable becomes obstructed when emotions hinder your progress. Acknowledge that you alone hold the reins to your life. Life unfolds for your benefit, not as a series of adversities. Release the burdens of the past. Extend forgiveness to others. Replace envy with gratitude. As someone wisely said, guard the gateway of your mind daily, selectively permitting thoughts and beliefs to shape your reality. By committing to this practice, you embark on the journey toward becoming unstoppable. Direct your focus. With your mental prowess harnessed, the next step is to channel it. It was stated that many individuals fail to achieve their true desires due to a lack of focused direction. They drift through life dabbling in various pursuits without mastering any one in particular. Those who grasp the concept of relentless living exhibit unwavering concentration. They hold a clear vision and associated goals to achieve it. No obstruction can divert their trajectory. They acknowledge that being unstoppable is synonymous with channeling your power. They use goal visualization, often employing creative techniques. To remain aligned with their objectives, they surround themselves with individuals who embody their aspirations. They discard anything hindering their progress toward their goals. This endeavor is undoubtedly challenging, yet it's indispensable. Execute diligently. Talent, check. Unyielding belief, check. Goals outlined, check. Now action becomes imperative. As someone once noted, you can't just visualize and then go about your routine. The conclusive step in achieving an unstoppable state is action. Initially, it might not seem daunting. Consistent practice, cultivation of beneficial habits, balanced nutrition, exercise, adherence to a routine. These all contribute to your growth. You continuously nourish your intellect and gain fresh insights each day. Nevertheless, a plateau inevitably emerges. This plateau is a natural phase within the cycle of improvement. The demarcation between those familiar with the art of relentless living and those who fall short of their potential lies in the ability to transcend plateaus, rebound from failures, and persistently persevere. Success remains elusive without a willingness to stumble.
Numerous accomplished individuals have encountered struggles on their path to success. These figures, who remain unnamed, exemplify the vital role of inner strength. However, inner strength encompasses more than achieving aspirations. It offers serenity and purpose. It fortifies resilience through challenging phases. Individuals with inner strength readily forgive, recognizing their control over personal actions and happiness. They harness positive thinking to steer their mindset. Inner strength empowers them to persevere even when external circumstances diverge. Fostering inner resilience involves strategic habits, mindful choices, elevated standards, purpose, driven living, focused determination, detachment from the past, unwavering focus, drawing wisdom from experiences, and establishing routines that nurture resilience. The significance of inner resilience extends beyond achieving objectives, offering steadfastness, tranquility, and the capacity to navigate life's complexities.